This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So in the first session yesterday, we have discussed about the basics of business analysis. I hope you have gone through that, right? What exactly business analysis is all about.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Followed by this, why business analyst required for any organization. At the same time, what kind of skill set do we need to acquire being a business analyst? Because people who are coming from different profiles, because some people from IT, some people from non-IT will come for business analyst. Because it's a career transformation stage, people come from different parts. Like some people from IT, some people from non-IT will come and attend. So there is a skill set which, being a business analyst, we must be good with. That skill set will be called as craft skills. You can see that in the recording. Wherein C stands for communication skills is something required for as being a BA, because communication is not only a verbal communication, but also you must be good enough in written communication skills also, because as a part of requirements communication, we prepare different documents and all that. So hence written communication is required for you. Apart from written communication skills, you must be good with listening skills, because unless until if you are not good listener, you cannot become a good solution provider, because customer may not be as communicative as you are. So communication skills are something very much important for any BA. After that, coming to this requirement analysis, means how to understand the requirements and how to analyze the requirements and all is also another important element. We need to understand it. Next, followed by requirement analysis, functional skills. Functional skills, nothing but knowing about the functionality of the project. Means whichever the domain are we working with. For example, you may be working with something relating to banking domain or else insurance domain, whichever the domain, you must have some knowledge about that functionality process, either if it is banking or insurance or so on. That functional process knowledge is something required for us. At the same time, technical skills is also needed. Technical skills, nothing but knowing about the technologies which are happening nowadays. At the same time, it's not only this, we must be knowing about the process of software development life cycle, which is something essential and important for any BA to perform. So this is what the skill set being a BA you must be good with. Clear? Imtiaz, Vijay. During the session time, if you have any confusion or if you'd like to ask anything, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay. Clear?
Okay, sir.
Right. Okay, so this is what generally the skill set is all about. Now, I'm going to present you what responsibilities being a BA we do, because you both are from a new entrants, especially for BA. Any new entrant will have a doubt. Raj, what I'm going to do when I join in any organization, because what is the first thing I do and what is the last thing I do, right? What responsibilities do I need to render? Where my responsibilities were so important for organization, means where am I good with, right? This is what most of the people will have a doubt, right? Where are my skill set or where are my responsibilities? Where am I really required and all that? So for that, I'm going to explain you about the process of software development lifecycle. If you want to know that, first of all, you must be knowing about how application development lifecycle works or functions, right? What are the different stages of application development we have, and how this application development lifecycle is useful for us when we are working on the project. Means SDLC part, I mean to say, right? Software development lifecycle. This is what we call it as software development lifecycle is. So first of all, you must be knowing about how software development lifecycle works, means what stages are there under SDLC. That is what something essential and important for you to know. So SDLC have lot of stages. When we talk about SDLC, there are in different stages will be there in SDLC. Different stages of SDLC will be there. So it's SDLC is nothing but the stages of product development. Whichever the product you take, whatever the development stages we have, the same thing will also be applied here. That is what we call it as SDLC stands for. So the stages of SDLC, being a BA, first of all we should know, which are as follows. So in the stages of SDLC, being a BA, what responsibilities we render and all everything will come into picture, right? So we are discussing about the stages of SDLC. First of all, we must be knowing what is SDLC stands for. SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle. This is what SDLC stands for. Software Development Lifecycle. It explains us about the stages of product development. Product or a project, whatever it is. Project or product. Product development. Right? So this is what generally SDLC stands for. Now, here you may have a doubt. Raj, what is meant by project and product? Because you have mentioned two different things. You mentioned about the project and at the same time you mentioned about the product as well. So what was the difference between project development and product development? See, in any software industry, actually software industries services will be of three different types. Before going to explain you about SDLC, let me explain you that first, right? So I'll go for that. Normally, software industry or software services will be of three different types. One is project-based companies. Some companies were relating to project-based. Some are product-based. And third is maintenance-based companies. Okay, companies will be of three different types. What is project-based companies? Project-based companies nothing but based on the particular client requirement, client need, we as a software company, I'm saying, right, as a vendor, we develop solution. Means we are developing a solution exclusive for a single customer. Okay, because for example, assume that there is a company called Walmart, right? Walmart requires a point of sale system. Okay, Walmart requires a point of sale system. So when point of sale system is there, when we're talking about the point of sale system, Walmart has an existing POS application they were using for a long time. Now Walmart wants us to upgrade it, right? Because they want some other new additional functionalities, features and all that. So they have existing application, they're asking us to upgrade it. Means exclusive for Walmart, you are developing a solution. This is what we call it as project-based companies are. Remember, clear? Yes, Vijay, clear or not? Right? This is what we call it as project-based companies. Next, product-based companies. Product-based companies, nothing but we are developing a product. We are developing a product. Means, for example, SAP. SAP is an organization has a product called ERP, right? At the same time, Salesforce. You can say Microsoft. Oracle. I'm just naming few companies which are prominent. So these are the companies who develop products. Okay, for example, SAP is the ERP product. Anyone can use it as long as they buy the licenses and all that. They can use SAP software. At the same time, Salesforce. Salesforce is a kind of application. It's a cloud-based application, of course. It's a cloud-based application where cloud-related CRM application, CRM things and all everything can be used there. Means you're purchasing a product from that company and you're using it. So either Salesforce or SAP or Microsoft or Oracle is not developing any of their products for a particular customer. It is generic. Oracle prepares database. Microsoft provide operating system. Whoever wants, they can buy licenses from that company. So it's a product-based companies we're all about. Now, here is a doubt. Raj, is this product-based companies remains the same? Don't we see any customization in that? Yes. There will be some customization. Further charges will be there. The customization, that too, will be limited. For example, if you are taking SAP, SAP is providing an ERP packages for their customers. For example, I want that product, whatever the product and whatever the domain and module I'm taking. If I want some customization, yes, SAP will be doing that. According to my organization, any minor changes, minor customization is required, SAP do that. But the point is, for that, they are going to charge money. Okay, because if you see an ERP, enterprise resource planning, the functionality remains the same for everyone. You don't see any changes in that. Either it's a manufacturing industry or a mechanical or automobile, wherever it was, the process and functionalities of the organization remains the same, irrespective of maybe they maybe belongs to a different manufacturing this thing, but process remains the same. You don't see any changes in that. But there is some difference. Maybe because of the process and functionalities, if there are any differences, SAP can do some customization out of it, right? So this is what we call it as product-based companies are. Next, maintenance-based companies. Maintenance-based companies means these people are purely into maintenance. These people are purely into maintenance. Means, for example, I developed an listen this point carefully, because what is maintenance based company, you may having a doubt here, right? Because there is some confusion here. Means you may feel that confusion. So maintenance based companies are very simple to understand. For example, I developed a point of sale system for a Walmart, for a retail unit. Okay, assume that I developed it.
So as a person, whenever I develop, we have an agreement with the client that I am developing the product and I do maintenance for 1 year, right? That is the agreement we have undergone. So the project I have developed for this project I have developed for this, and I've completed the maintenance also. 1 year maintenance I did. But as far as the maintenance cost itself is concerned, it is very expensive from my side. Whatever I am charging for development, the same cost I am charging even for maintenance also, which is becoming an expensive thing, especially for maintenance. That much cost client may not bear. Okay, because it is my way of operation, by my way of business policy. So eventually I said that I'm not going to reduce anything. So these are the fixed prices. If you want as to maintain it, so you have to pay this. So normally what organizations do then, they will hire some companies who exclusively takes care of maintenance. The best example, if you remember, you might have known about a company called Satyam Computers in the beginning days. After that, because of some problem, it was merged into this Mahindra and all that. So earlier it was a company called Satyam. I think you might have heard about them, Satyam Computers. They are their beginning career. In the beginning career, first they have started with maintenance projects. Means maintenance projects means, for example, let us come to our example. This company will hire a maintenance organization, and what I have to do is I have to do KT. KT stands for knowledge transfer. Means how I have developed the project, what exactly this project is all about. So the whole thing I have to transfer this knowledge and all everything to that maintenance company. After 1 year, they'll take care of that. Right? It's again mine. I don't have any responsibility. So I have completed the project. 1 year maintenance I did. I have handed out to the maintenance company, because maintenance company with the less cost, they are taking care of all the maintenance of the application. So whatever the knowledge transfer, that is what we call it as KT. Knowledge transfer means how this application working, right? How we developed. Everything will be explained to them slowly, and I go outside. So from there onwards, for my client, maintenance is taken care of by another company. This is what we call it as maintenance based companies are. Clear, Vijay? Imtiaz, any doubts or not?
Yes, sir, I'm good. Yes, sir, I'm good.
You're clear? Imtiaz, yours?
They're all good.
Vijay?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay, great. Right, so these are the three kind of services will be there. Project based, product based, followed by maintenance based company. Now coming back to SDLC. So this is what generally SDLC stands for. Stands for Software Development Lifecycle. So what SDLC stands for? It explains about the stages of application development. There are different stages. Any product you develop, there will be some stages. So it is of that sort. There are different stages of SDLC, which are as follows. The first stage will be called as analysis. Second, planning and design. Third, implementation. Testing, deployment, delivery, followed by maintenance. Okay, so these are the stages of software development lifecycle. Because any application you develop, irrespective of technology, irrespective of the domain, stages of SDLC are these. The first stage we call it as analysis. Second, followed by planning and design. Third, implementation. Four, testing. Five, deployment. Six, delivery, followed by maintenance. Right. So these are the stages of software development lifecycle. Now, what is meant by analysis? What do we do here? On what way, being a business analyst, we are connecting to this? Right? This is the first question. In analysis stage, the very first thing we do means once we get a project from the client, I mean to say, okay, remember carefully. So whenever we get a project from the client, how we get projects, usually through bidding process, we get projects from the clients, right? So customer will ask us to develop some project. So based on the project requirement, what they have given, usually what we do some analysis part. And first of all, whenever we get a project, whenever we get the initial requirements from the customer, the very first thing what we do is, first of all, we try to understand the business problem. Try to understand the business problem. Okay. I'll give you a best example to you. Let's say there is a bank. Okay. What banks do? Banks usually takes care of all the deposits, all that. Right? So this is what banking functionality is. Irrespective of the size of the organization, banking functionality remains the same across the world. You know it. They may be into other portfolio management services, that is different. It depends on the size of the bank, it varies. But on an average, bank functionalities remains the same. Okay, understand this way. Now, bank is using a core banking application. What is core banking application stands for? Core banking is an application which is being used for back-end operations. Means back-end operations of the bank. Whatever the internal regular transactions they do in the bank, to manage this, they use an application called core banking application. Understood? Clear? Yes, Vijay. Okay. Now, customer is using an existing application. Remember, usually customers will be of two types. Either customer will ask us to upgrade the existing application, or else customer may be asking us to develop a new application. Either one, right? For example, it is very simple for you to understand. I'll give you a real example to you. You have a mobile, for example, right? Mobile which is using by you, which is having good configurations. Now, two things. First, you want to have an additional memory for your mobile because you want to capture some images, taking some videos. You want to have an additional memory space. Okay, you want to have some additional memory space. So if you want to have an additional memory space, if there is a possibility, remember, if you have a possibility to add an external memory slot in your existing mobile, you opt for that. If not, if it is really needed, you buy a new mobile. Clear and clear? Okay. Clear or not? So you have an additional existing mobile is there with you. You want to have an additional space of your mobile. So for that, you require some additional memory slot to be installed in that. If your mobile have that provision, you can install an additional memory slot with the existing mobile. By adding some new memory, you carry on with that. Otherwise, what you do, if this is your major requirement, you opt for the new mobile, which is something highly configured and space wise as well, right? So same way, customer has an existing application which they were using from long years. That application seems good at one point in time, but now because of the changes happens in their business services, means a lot of business activities was involved, the existing core banking application is not performing well as they require at this point in time. So customer have that problem. So customer is expecting someone to provide solution for them, either enhancing the existing system or else developing a new one, either way, right? So again, that is depends on the cost, depends on the budget, everything matters there. So this is what we call it as analysis. Analysis means here we try to understand business problem. We try to understand the business problem. That is what the first thing happens in business analysis phase. In analysis phase, the first thing happens is understand the business problem. Whenever you're trying to understand what we are going to understand business problem, this is the first thing, because you may be having it out here. Where you are saying that to understand the business problem, how and what way are we going to do that? First, we need to know and we have to study few things. Why customer, client, whoever they are, right? Why customer or client approached us? What was the reason and problem? Next, how important to have a solution for this problem. How important to have a solution for this problem? What kind of solution client is expecting? So these are comes under understanding the problem. Understand, right? So the very first thing being a business analyst or a business analyst team, because this is what we do. Right from here, our role will be started. The very first thing is we have to know why client has approached us. For what reason client is approaching us. At the same time, how important to have a solution at this point for this problem means, is it something important and immediate for now for the customer to address with, or do we have time for this? Next, what kind of solution client is expecting? Means anything is there in client mind? Is he expecting something of this sort? Right? This kind of thing is he expecting, or can we go ahead with the way what we feel or what we want? Right? So these are the points we need to consider when you are understanding the business problem. Being a business analyst, this is our responsibility to do. Point number one. Now, after analysis, the next thing you do in the analysis phase itself, we need to understand two things. We need to understand the existing system followed by proposed system. Two things. Now, what is existing system? What is proposed system? Existing system in business analysis terms, it is called as is. Means what existing system client is using. This you need to have an understanding. Right? What existing system this client is having means, it means what are the features, functionalities, non-functionalities are there. Okay, this is what we call it as existing system. What is feature, what is functional, what is non-functional, I'll tell you later. Okay, so this is what we call it as existing system is. Okay. Okay, so this is what existing system is. So once you understood the existing system, based on that, you need to understand the proposed system. Remember, and we are not going to provide any solution here. We are assessing everything. Proposed system. This proposed system will be called as to be. To be. To be means here we try to understand what kind of solution or the application do we require to develop. This is what we call it as proposed system. Understand? Vijay, Imtiaz, are you clear or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Right. So this is what. So two things we have to know. First of all, you need to know the existing system. Why customer is approaching us? Because there is some problem. So what kind of problem is that? So first of all, you need to know the existing system. This is what we call it as is. Next, followed by this proposed system. To be means what we are going to develop. So these two things, remember, proposed system is an assessment you are making it. Being a BA, you are not finalizing as a whole, because technical people involvement is also required. End of the day, developer has to develop the logic by writing programming, all that. So at the end of the day, they have to take the final decision apart from the role of the BA, because it's a collective responsibility and collective decision making. Because being a business analyst, we cannot go in a one way. So because it is possible or not, feasibility study, we have to see whether is it feasible technically for us to develop the application or not. For example, if you want to enhance the existing application, whatever the existing hardware and software, is it compatible? Let's say you have a laptop. I'll give you an example. With reference to the compatibility, I'm saying this. For example, there is a laptop with you are having, which is a basic laptop. You are using for mails, you are using for presentations, everything. It's good. Now you are planning to install an SAP software. Okay. But if you want to install an SAP software, there is some configuration will be there. Some set of configuration, hardware and software configuration is required for SAP to install it. Your system, whatever the laptop you are using, is not compatible with that. Will it be installed in this? Is it possible? No. Why? Because there is no compatibility. Means whatever the configuration of the laptop you are having is not suitable with what SAP requires. Hence, you cannot install. What you have to do, either you have to upgrade your application, upgrade your laptop, or else you have to hire the new one. Agree or not? Vijay, Imtiaz, right?
Yes, sir.
Agree or not? Right?
Yeah.
Either that or this. You have to do this. So that's the reason why we need to have, and we need to involve, we need to make everyone involved in developing solution, because we have to see the possibilities, all that. That is something important and essential. This is what we call it as existing and proposed system. All these will come under analysis phase. So being a business analyst will be involving in analysis phase of the project. I am just highlighting this here. Being a business analyst, we are responsible here. Understand? Right? This is what we have to do. Existing system followed by proposed system. We need to understand that. At the same time, what kind of problem customer is having. All that need to be understood by us. This is what we call it as analysis phase. Next, followed by this planning and design. Now, I'll ask you a question wherein please answer it, which is not something relating to IT, generalized question. You are going to construct a residential apartment. This is what your plan is. You are into civil engineering side. You are planning to construct a residential apartment. This is what your interest is. Now, if you want to construct that, you have sufficient capital with you. You have experienced staff, workers, all these people are there with you. At the same time, you bought a piece of land you bought to construct the building. Everything is there with you. Apart from all these, what is required to construct the building? What else is required? Apart from
approvals.
You need approval.
Approvals, drawings.
Approvals, drawings. Okay. Who will give these approvals and drawings to you? Who will approve first? Government authorities. Government authorities will approve. Right. So if you want to get an approval, what is needed first? You need to get drawings. Right.
Correct.
That is what we call it as blueprint. Right? Blueprint. Blueprint means blueprint of the building, construction building is required for you. Without having a blueprint, you cannot construct the building. Right? So there will be a civil architect who will provide you the blueprint to you. So based on the blueprint, how to construct the building, again about the permissions, all these things will be planned accordingly. Right? Agree or not? Now, If you want to talk about the blueprint of the building, again, this will be of two types. Listen, one is external, second is internal. Now, what is external? What is internal? External means how building looks like from outside, right? Color combinations, or the kind of design you have made. All these things comes under the external part of it. Now, second, internal. What is internal stands for how many flats you are constructing, what is the size of each and every flat, how much space you are leaving for one flat to one flat, how much space you are providing for corridors, how much of the space for each and every flat you are accommodating, how many electricity points you are giving in each and every flat, where are we providing, how many plumbing works you are providing, where are we providing. All these things you have to make a list of. You have to make a list of each and everything. So based on that, what you're doing, based on this, you're constructing a building. Why? Because even though how experienced you have, plumbers, electricians, all these, unless until you don't give them a plan, they cannot work. Okay, they can't work out. Means how many electricity pipes, electricity lines you need to provide, how many bulbs you have to provide, how many lights do you require to provide, where to provide. The detailed design and detailed design plan, if you provide to an electrician, he will do the work. Otherwise, he cannot do. Even though how well experienced he is, doesn't have any value nor need. That is the same thing. The same thing happens in project development also. It is nothing to do with what kind of solution do we require to provide. End of the day, what kind of solution you want to do, or what kind of solution you want to provide, you need to have a proper planning followed by design. This is something required for us to do, being a project team members, right? It's not only a BA role, right? I'm talking about everyone. That's the reason why planning and design is the second phase, which is required in SDLC. Here, so based on the analysis we made, whatever the kind of solution we identified, a proper project planning must be initiated, right? It must be initiated. So normally, who do this? Usually project planning will be done by the project manager, not by the anyone, right? Project planning means in this what all comes under project planning. This is the first question. In project planning, how duration of the project means how many months or how many days or whatever it is, right? How many months it will be taken for us to complete this project. How much staff required means manpower allocation means how many people we require to complete this project, right? What are other facilities do we need to provide? Understand, right? Next, how much budget will it how much budget we have? Because normally any project, if you take any of the project, there is some amount of budget will be allocated to the project manager. So project manager responsibility is to make sure to complete the project within the budget what it is being given to them, right? So there is some limit of amount of budget will be given to the project manager. He has to complete the project successfully within that limited budget. That is his responsibility. Understand, right? So this is what generally project planning is all about. How much budget we have and what kind of uh, what kind of model are we using, SDLC model, right, to develop the solution or project. All these things comes under project planning. Remember, this will be done by the PM, project manager. Project manager will takes care of the project planning. That's the reason why success and failure major responsibilities with project manager in many of the projects. Right? Being a business analyst, your requirement is something confined only for gathering requirements, all that. Right? Of course, if you are a project manager, then it's different. But as of now, this is the thing. Right? So this is what project planning will be done by the project manager. Means what kind of solution we are providing. Is it possible for us to provide or not? We do the feasibility study, right? We do cost benefit analysis, being a project manager. All these things based upon that, how to develop the project. The project planning will be done by the PM, project manager. So based on this, architect, because that is what I told you earlier, right? Blueprint of the building, the same thing like architect. Architect is another role will be there. Who develop solution architecture for the project? Means a layout. Layout is required, which will be done by the architect. This is what generally solution architecture is. So if an architect wants to know the solution architecture, this is based on enterprise and business architecture of the particular client, right? Enterprise or business architecture. Based on enterprise and business architecture, an architect will develop solution for the project. Okay, so this is what generally architect will do. Unless architect would provide this, whoever and what kind of experienced people are we doesn't have any value. Okay, now right, the third point. One minute. I think the system is getting reconnected with some internet issue. Just be online for a minute. You understood till this extent, Vijay, Imtiaz?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There is a problem. We'll wait for 2 minutes, huh? Please. Yeah. Yes. No. So project planning did. Architect prepare architecture for the project. Whereas business analyst, what a business analyst do here? Business analyst, whatever the solution are we developing for that, what features, what functionalities, or what non-functional requirements, what non-functional requirements do we need to develop? This is what generally a business analyst do. All this by preparing some documents, because being a BA, we have to prepare different documents, because you cannot communicate all these with orally, right? So it is not possible for us to communicate because there are a lot of requirements, functionalities there. So we have to prepare some documents like BRD, SRS, right? Preparing some UML diagrams. These are the different ways of communicating this to the technical team so that they'll start implementing the project. So this is what we call it as the role of a business analyst in planning and design, because whatever the solution we have identified, for that solution, what features do we require to develop, what functional, non-functional, all these things will be taken care of by the business analyst. So how do we communicate this? This we are communicating through preparing some documents like BRD, SRS, UML diagrams, forest use cases. All these things will be prepared by us. Now, you may be having it out here, Raj, what is meant by feature, functional and non-functional? I'll give you an example. For example, you have a car. There is a feature called GPRS tracking device. Okay, GPRS tracking device. GPRS tracking device means if you are moving towards any place, the place to identify which place you are going, how to go and all that. To tell you the routes, GPRS tracking is being used. You know well. The device is there. Assume that that's a feature given in the car by the manufacturer. Now, you want to operate that. What you want to operate, you have to select the location where you are now. Okay, location where you are now. Second, you have to select the location where you want to reach. Okay. First, you have to select the location where you are now. Second, you have to select the location where you want to reach. So whenever you have selected these two, it will show you the direction. Right? It will show you the direction, how much time it will be taken and how many miles it will be taken for you to reach the location. So once you start, it will show you the directions, go straight, go left, go right, all these. So whenever you reach the location, it will give you a voice message that you have reached the location where you want to reach, and that is in the left hand or right hand side of your corner. Right? This is what generally the thing is. Right? This is what it is. Now you have a feature called GPRS tracking. Assume that we don't have all these options in the device. Will it functions? Will it work? What we can do here is nothing. Why? Because there are no functionalities were there. Means if you want to operate that feature, what is required? All these functionalities must be there. Right? And next, you need to have a submit button there. Right? Whenever you click on the submit button, it will show you the map, right? In which direction you have to go and how many miles it will be taken for you to reach. All this will be explained by. This is what we call it as functional requirements. Now, what is meant by non-functionality? Non-functionality means how this system should behave. Means once you have crossed the destination what you want to reach, it has given the message to you, right? You got the message after that, after you cross the location where you want to reach. So what do you feel? Performance of the device is not accurate. Do you feel or not? This is what we call as non-functionality. Means it is not about what features and what functionalities we are developing, but performance, scalability, load balancing, all these were equally important for any application when we are developing. So those we call it as non-functional requirements. Clear in here, Vijay? So these we call it as non-functional requirements. This is what, being a business analyst, we do in planning and design. Okay, in planning and design, the role of a business analyst is communicating requirements to the technical team. For that, he has to prepare some documents and all that. So apart from the project manager responsibility, apart from the architect responsibility, this is what being a business analyst we do. Clear now? Vijay, Imtiaz.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I have a question. Like in like while gathering all the requirements itself, like there are some certain industries like the BA are also are needed to do some some data analysis work. You know, when they get some requirements of it. So that comes under like which
That is data
phase?
analysis. That is not business analysis. That is data analysis. Data analysis.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to like clean up some data, right? Like some they have to run some queries, you have to run some.
You are not relating to data. That's what I'm saying. You are relating to the requirements.
Okay.
Business analyst role is for requirements. Whatever the clean up the data, writing queries or analysis, data part, that's all comes under data analysis.
Okay. So that is not at all the role of the BA, is what
Like
you are
it's the
telling.
role of a BA, but it is not related for every role. It is not required for
Correct.
everywhere. For example, you want to develop a core banking application.
Mm-hmm.
The very first thing what is required for you, you need to know how core banking functionality works, how banking functionality works. So based on that, what kind of problem are they facing? What kind of solution are they expecting? Right? This is what they require. It is nothing to do with what kind of data they are maintaining, all that. Because the data part and all everything will be completed by the data analyst or technical team, not by a
But
BA.
but if the project is like enhancing an existing product and the customer is like not sure like which of the features or things which they have to enhance, and they're saying like I have this this is the volume of like data which I have based on the customer needs, but I would like you to to do your groundwork and stuff, and then you propose and you come up with what is the solution, what is needed. I'm talking about a different, as you
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
like different
Carry on.
industry, different. My understanding of BA is like different companies. They have their definition of BA is different, because that's what exactly I'm seeing right now. Like whenever I look at the JD
Because
and stuff, like
business
it is.
analyst role is common everywhere. See, we have to understand one thing, India. Business analyst is a role to provide solution. Okay. So what kind of solution are we providing? It differs from one organization to one organization. If you are working for an IT company as a business analyst, the responsibility is what we render is different. At the same time, you as a business analyst working for example, you're working for a market research company, right? For example,
Okay.
you're working for a market research company. Apart from the skill set, what business analyst is having, what else is required? You need to have market research analysis technique, data, all that. Am I right or not? Understand, right? So, structure of BA remains the same, qualifications and qualities. Apart from that, what is required as you are working for market research organizations? You need to have an understanding about the market research techniques and deep understanding about the market research process, right?
Correct.
Understand, right?
Correct.
So that varies, depends on the kind of job profile what we have, because it doesn't mean that the same thing applied everywhere. For example, if a business analyst required for a market research organization, whatever the responsibilities they were asking him to perform, that we cannot relate for every business analyst in other job profile. Because that's a market research organization, their requirement is different. For example, you as a business analyst, if you are working for a healthcare organization, what is required for you? You need to know about the healthcare system, right? Healthcare hospital management system you require. How patients meet up and how we are allocating patients to the doctors. All that is required for you.
Yes,
Then
correct.
when you're coming to bank, when you come into bank, you're talking about core banking, right? Back end operations you're talking about. For example, you're being a business analyst, you're working for a retail outlet, retail outlet. What is required? How retail store
Retail
functions, how
experience,
retail store
retail, the
works,
whole, yeah.
retail, absolutely. That is what required. So those are domain based.
So
Those
you're
are
saying
domain based.
so all those are the functional, that one of those, the skill sets which you mentioned, like the craft. So all of what I mentioned now falls under the F, functional skill sets. Am I right?
Skill set,
I'm
yes.
missing.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Those are functional skill sets. So
Okay.
basic business analyst course remains the same.
Okay.
If someone wants to acquire knowledge on specific domain, they have to opt for a specific domain training. For example, if I want to become a business analyst in healthcare domain, I have to choose a course where all these will be there: HIPAA rules and regulations, Medicare, Medicaid, right, claim management system, claim adjudication. All these I must be aware of if I'm a healthcare BA. Understood? Clear? Right? Understood or not? Right?
Okay.
If I'm a healthcare BA, all these. So, but it doesn't mean that you have to be very clear with about requirement gathering. You have to be good with understanding BRDs, writing SRS documents. These are common, right? This will not be changed. So apart from this, what is required for you? You need to have a deep understanding about healthcare system, health insurance, because assume that you're working on health insurance claim processing and all that. You must be knowing about how healthcare claim processing works, happens, functions. What are HIPAA rules and regulations? What is claim management, claim adjudication? All these you must be aware. Means if you are opting for a specific domain, if you are opting, that's called as domain training, domain based BA training. But if you want to be in domain based if anyone wants to be in domain based training, first of all they should know the basics of business analyst. First of all, they have to do ITBA. That's the reason why whoever the new entrant enter into the field of business analysis must undergo IT business analyst first. After that, if they want, a specific domain based training will be undergone by them later. Understand? Because without having this skill set, acquiring knowledge of domain doesn't have any value. Because for example, if I'm working on back-end operations of the bank, so I know about the banking transactions, how it happens in domain, but I'm not a BA. So what is useful? Right? Because I don't know what business analysts do and what I have to do. I have a domain knowledge. So there is no value. So you have to opt for a business analyst first. Then if reference to the specific domain, we have to undergo training later. That is different. Understood? Clear? Imtiaz?
Yes, sir.
Understood or not? But now, here you may have a doubt. Raj, how to acquire practical knowledge in your course? Right? This is your point. Right? Because some sort of practical exposure on some domain we should get. Right? How do we get that? Right? This is a general query. Anyone will come across. That's the reason what we do is I take a case study, something relating to banking or healthcare or retail or something, like some case study will be taken because I have case studies. I'll ask you to work on those assignments. I'll give you those questions and all that. So I'll ask you to prepare BRDs, SRS, business case. All this you have to prepare. So based on the case study nothing but a project, I can say in simple terms, right? Based on that case study, you need to work on writing BRDs, SRS, business case, UML diagrams, all that you have to work on. That's how some sort of live exposure. I don't say live experience, because live experience, unless you are not working, you don't get it. You get live exposure towards how to understand the requirements, because I am saying understanding requirements. Now you have to know practically how to understand, right? How to understand requirements you must be knowing. How to do that? For that, case study will be given. So based on the case study, whatever the practical session will be there will happen on that case study. You need to do some work on that, right? So either you may not get all the information on the case study. Out of box thinking is required sometimes, right? Because in other real environment, you have stakeholders who will give all the information to you, but we don't have that facility here. So you can opt for Google, and you can go for Google, and you can get information out of that. That's how generally training works. Clear?
Okay, got it.
Right? Right. Vijay, you're clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay then. Right. So we'll meet tomorrow and we'll discuss more further.
Okay, sir.
So analysis, planning and design was done, followed by implementation that we discussed.
Okay.
Right. See you then.
Brad, so we will get this link of this recording right later.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Everyone, maximum by before the session starts tomorrow, I'll share this to you. Possible, maximum.
Yes. Yeah.
Depends
Yes.
on my work schedule and all that.
Sure.
Sometimes
No
ready.
problem. Take it. Sure. Great.
Before the session starts, the next session starts, this recording you'll see. That's all.
Awesome.
Okay.
In
Right,
the Google.
Vijay? Right.
Okay. Thanks. Sure. Okay.
In Google Drive. Yes. I'll share through Google Drive. And followed by the session notes also. The session notes will be there. This is live.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Whenever it is completed, it will be shared to you.
Okay. That's great. Really
Right,
good.
Vijay? Right, Imtiaz?
Thank you
Okay,
so much.
thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Right. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Right.